Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2024 Ford Maverick, we're going to be showing you how to install the Roadmaster Brake-Lite relay kit. Before we do that though, let's take a minute, we'll check this out and talk about what it's actually going to do. What the Brake-Lite relay is going to do is pretty straightforward. It's going to allow all your lighting functions to work properly whenever you have your blinkers turned on and you're hitting the brake inside of your coach, right? So let's say if the vehicle did not have a brake light relay installed and you were flat towing it down the road, let's say you had your left turn signal going and you pulled up to a stop sign or rolling up to a stoplight, right? So you get on the brake. What would happen would be that the brake signal would override the turn signal on the back of your Maverick. So, you'd have your turn signal going on the coach and the brake light illuminated on the other side, but back here on the Maverick, you would just have two brake lights on. And so you can see how that could be confusing to people behind you with mismatched signals happening there, right? So a brake light relay is going to correct that issue and allow the turn signals and everything to sync up properly with your coach. Honestly, not really a whole lot more to talk about as far as a brake light relay goes. It does one job, but it's a really important job. So really no reason not to use something like this. As far as the installation goes, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a pain. You're working up under the dash, some of the wires are hard to get to, but something you do one time and then you have functioning lights the way that they're supposed to work from there on out. With that said, if there's something you're not comfortable doing or you're having other parts installed at the same time, you can always use our dealer locator network, and that can help you find a shop in your neighborhood. I can do something like this for you. If you're gonna do it yourself though, hang around, we'll go ahead, pull into the garage and get started on it now. To begin our installation for our brake light relay, we're going to be working inside here under the dashboard on the driver's side. And since it's kind of tight under there, what I like to do is prep the relay and the harness as much as I can. That way, it's just easier to work. So there's 5 wires coming off of it. The green wire we will not be using, so I just kind of tape that up and out of the way. You'll have a black wire, a white wire, red, and blue. And so I crimped butt connectors on the end of them here, and the way you would do that is to strip the insulation back some, twist the wire underneath, take one of the connectors, slide it over, and crimp it down. And as far as where these wires are going to go, the white wire will be a ground. The red wire, that's going to tie into the tail light circuit, or the brown wire from our tow bar or diode wiring. The blue and black wire, that's what's going to tap into the factory brake light switch, with the blue wire being closest to the switch and the black wire being closer to the tail light side. And we're also going to tie in the indicator light wiring from our supplemental braking system into the blue wire as well. Here's our indicator light wire, and what you can do, I removed the butt connector off this so I could show you. What you can do is actually tie these two ends together if this is how you're setting everything up. If your supplemental braking system uses that indicator light, and just twist them together and put both ends into the butt connector, and that'll just eliminate one extra connection, that could potentially come apart or fail, so doing it this way, just simplify it a little bit more. For the red wire from the brake light relay and the white one, I have that hooked up to 2 extra wires that I decided to run. So a brown one and a white one, they're both probably 4 to 5 foot in length. And these are going to run through a grommet under the dash here. That way we can get them into the engine compartment. Here's a look at that grommet that we utilized. You can just poke a hole through it. Chances are pretty good you already will have a hole there if you're doing other flat towing components. But regardless, that's how you can get the wires into the engine compartment. Just like how we doubled up wires with the red and blue inside, I did the same thing with our brown and white wire. So that brown one that we ran in here, that's tying into the existing brown diode or tow bar wiring right there. Same thing with the ground. I had a bunch of grounds that I just tied all together, put it into a thick wire just to eliminate some of the connections, and grounded it right there. So that's an 8mm head bolt. You can remove the nut, put a ring terminal on the ground, and secure it down. Back inside now, up under the dash, we can locate our brake light wires. And you know, if you look up there, it's definitely tight, but you'll see a bundle of wire coming off of the brake pedal arm. And the two that we're going to be working with, they're the same colors. They're like a light purple with a white stripe. And that will be the cold side of our brake switch. So being that it's so tight, I'll hook it up and show you what it looks like afterwards. But what you're going to do is cut those wires in half, strip the ends back, and tie the blue and black wire from the brake light relay into those. I was able to get them wires hooked up, and this is how it turned out. So just make sure that you have good solid connections once everything is hooked up, because you know these are a little tricky to get to. So take your time and you know, get it right the first time. And with everything connected, I zip tied up the wiring under the dash to keep it secure. And with that done, that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster Brake-Lite relay on our 2024 Ford Maverick.